Okay, so I think we can start. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Masterclass, European Needs for Additive Manufacturing Standardization for Qualification. It's a bit a longer title. My name is Ellison Rosa. I work for UNM, which is the French committee in charge of additive manufacturing standards. And I'm also here as the secretary of the French committee, the CEN committee, CEN-TC 438, which is also additive manufacturing. Now, I'm not going to say that this is the beginning of something. I think that could sound a bit unnatural, a bit pretentious, and also maybe quite disrespectful to the tremendous work done over the last 10 years or so by people like Marius, Catherine Lubineau, Eric, Benoit, Klaas, Martin Scheffer, and many others. So we have people in this room and also people attending virtually. So these are like the most guys that worked for the European AM standardization over the past, since 2015, 2011. That was the beginning of this whole work. But I think we could safely say that today is a watershed moment. It's like a turning point that hopefully will give a significant boost to the whole AM European standardization. So, before I say any further, I would like to give you a quick reminder on the agenda today. So, we are going to have, so we will start the opening session. And we will have 15 minutes for that, so we will keep things straightforward. So no deep dive into details today at the beginning. And the opening session, so we will basically give you a short heads up on the current standardization landscape. So basically tell you who is doing what and when and where. And after that, so you have the two roundtables, so one focused on airspace qualification and the second on the energy qualification. And after that, we will have the coffee break, so I think it's like 30 minutes a coffee break from 4:30 to 5, and finally we will wrap up with the closing session from 5 to 6. And of course, this beautiful afternoon will end on a high note with the networking cocktail in the evening from 6:30 to 8:30. I think that's all my side. Oh yeah, so just one thing. I'd like to say how grateful we are to Cetim for hosting this beautiful masterclass today, the day before Metal IMS. So a big thank you to Benoit Vercan, Angélique Preux from the communication department, and yeah, so give them a big round of applause. So now I will hand over to Eric Poster. So Eric is in his capacity as the chair of the CEN-TC 438. He will give some highlights on the current activity. So yeah.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you, everybody. Everybody, hello. Very nice to see that we are so numerous today. My name is Eric Boster. I'm the head of the innovation in my SME Volumi. So we are doing a critical part for in metal since more than 15 years now. And we are involved in standardization since then, since a long time. And you can see on the slide that in 2015, we have a first, let's say, starter called SASAM, that is a European project, support action for standardization in additive manufacturing. And the project was an initiative to accelerate the development of standard for additive in Europe. It brought together industry, research organization, and a standard body also to identify gap, to coordinate efforts, and to create common roadmap of AM. So at this stage, more than 10 years ago, The main topic we see were improving quality. That was one point. Keyword was the interoperability. Not easy to say, but you understand that is a topic to be able to go from one machine or to one region to another. And certification process. So we were more than 100 stakeholders, and we decide we create a sort of roadmap. You still can have this roadmap on the web. And today, with this new initiative, we are very happy to have a new roadmap and a new direction and energy to continue this work in Europe. The first decision of the TC 438, so create due to this European project, was to use the energy of the ISO. So we decide that each new work item proposal at the ISO will be ballot in parallel at the European level. The aim was to use what already exists, and we had not so much expert 10 years ago. So that was one first way to develop and to work with the 438, and this could be done due to the Vienna Agreement, and Alison will speak about maybe more in detail. Okay, so 10 years ago, very nice, but what happened today? 10 years later, we see that we have a multiple standard and with a global market, not only for aerospace or for energy. We now have a major global organization developing standards, so I speak about ISO, we speak about ASTM, F42, our partner since many years. We have the ASME, the SAE, and we also have highly regional or domain-focused bodies, like, for example, DNV for the oil and gas and maritime. We have the European Space Agency, who make some specification. And of course, in aviation, we have the EASA in Europe and FAA in the United States. So that is a global initiative, and the force of the CEN is to, with the agreement and the coordination, so we are able to create a strong value standard with a triple logo. So this is a very, let's say, new things to have ASTM, ISO, and CEN in the same, and Additive is the only one to do that. So this permits to avoid some conflicting documents. So that is one of the most important things in standard. No contradictory in document. If not, it's very complex to deal with. We don't want to duplicate effort, of course, and we want to limit the fragmented implementation. So today I'm here also to tell you that the European Committee should reinforce his role, and his role, you know it, because it is the roadmap we write all together at 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, with three main pillars, three main objectives to ensure the visibility of the IM standardization by centralizing, if possible, the initiative to at least to see what's happened and to be in the game. The Europe, let's say, well, I don't know if we have a lot of Americans in the room, but we think that we create additive manufacturing, and that in Germany, in France, in Italy, in Europe, we have a lot of skills, and we should and we need to stay central on this process in the next couple of years. The second main objective of the TC is to reinforce the link between European research program and standardization. It's not easy. It's not easy because for a researcher, create a standard, it's quite complex. But the European project and the NRD project are able to give some input to standard and to create some draft. We take, and thank you to the NM to take this 5 example of standard of research program who give some input. The first was Nucobam, so we have here some representatives of this project, and it gives a material database for nuclear, and their database have been shared to create some standard on material today. So that's a nice input. So integrate, the second one, give some information and push on data management. Easy stress is a test method, to new test method to a residual stress measurement, which is quite new. DISCO 2023 was on hybrid manufacturing, PBF and DUD. And the MIDAS one was focused on remanufacturing in oil, gas, battery, and so an environmental aspect, which are also quite crucial in these days. So with this, we remind you, and I would like to say that each plenary meeting of the CEN 438 is a floor for your European project, if you have one, to come and to have the micro and say, okay, please see what we have done and how it could help the future standard. And then we would like to provide a complete set of, so I like this, the complete set of standards. Nothing is complete, but at least to be able to continue the cooperation with the other TC and the other standardization body to create the best standard, and that could be used by the industry and also by academic to share their knowledge. So thank you very much to hear that. I will give you the micro, Alison, to explain a little bit in detail what is the coordination and how it works concretely, the coordination between the either TC. Thank you for your attention.
I'm not sure about the time. If can, yeah, we can. We are okay. Now I will show you this flow chart. So this flow chart is to give you a look behind the scenes of what we call, what Eric called the triple logo standards. So in reality, we have 3 organizations working side by side. So if you look at this flow chart, you see, so the top level is the international levels. So we have all the AM standards, so additive standards, they are developed. So it's basically what we call the ISO lead. So they are developed at the international level by ISO and ASTM. So that means that both organizations, they signed what we call the PSDO agreement. So it's like a cooperation agreement signed in 2000, back in 2011, I think. And so PSDO stands for Partner Standards Development Organization, I think. And so all the AM standards, they are developed at the ISO side and the ASTM side, so they work closely. And let's say this togetherness is embodied in the joint, what we call the joint groups. You might have heard like working groups in the ISO side in other TCs, whereas here in additive manufacturing, we have the joint groups. They are joint because we have ISO and ASTM guys joining the same group. So that's how basically it works. And so where does Europe fit into this picture? So that's a question you might be asking you. Well, there is, that's where the CEN 438 committee steps in. We apply what we call the Vienna Agreement to practically all the AM standards. So that means that at the end of the day, we have the triple logo EN, ISO/ASTM standards. So we have all these 3 organizations working together. And it's thanks to this triple organization that we have, we can say all the standards, they are applied worldwide, because they are applied in Europe, because the CEN adopted all the standards developed by ISO and ASTM. At the bottom here, you can see the UNM 920, which is the French Bureau Committee in charge of the additive manufacture. So it's the equivalent, if you want, to the DIN in Germany, to the BSI in UK, to the ASC in Austria, etc. So it's the national committee, okay? So you might be asking, who is UNM? So UNM is the standard body acting on behalf of AFINOR. So we have like a kind of a mandate to represent AFINOR in all the international and European level. Okay, so UNM is the standard body relating to everything related to mechanical engineering, steel, rubber, and of course additive manufacturing. With the support of experts like Eric and Benoît Verquin, UNM also we coordinated let's say the involvement of the French experts in all these ecosystems, so the European standardization and also ISO and ASTM, okay? And this slide is also to show you that UNM, as the national body, we have some responsibilities towards ISO and ASTM, and also the European side. So basically at the international level, we have some joint groups, okay? So we hold the secretariat, we manage all the portfolio, and also at the European level, we hold the leadership of the technical committee, which is the CEN 438. Here is really quickly just to give you a sense of scale. So the current portfolio monitored by UNM. So we have, so today, some important figures. So 54 published standards, okay, EN, ISO, ASTM, or EN ISO standards. We only have 2 standards, EN ISO, meaning that they were not adopted by ASTM. We have 13 projects in the pipeline, meaning draft standards, so they are currently under development. And we have 17 what we call preliminary items. So these are basically very early drafts of future standards, okay? And in the last meetings that we have between ISO and ASTM, that was 2 weeks ago in Tennessee, in Knoxville, we added a +7 preliminary work items. Okay, I won't go into details here, but you can see the titles of them, and in bold, maybe the main. So we have thermoplastics, for example, polymer operators, code spray, and some revisions as well. And so here, this is my last slide, is just to say that the EM standardization community, we also looks at machinery safety and also what we call the harmonized standards, okay? Now, I'm not going to explain you all the intricacies between the machinery directive and machinery regulation, okay? That's not my objective here. We could spend a whole day talking about that. And honestly, it's a bit above my pay grade, so I won't get to that level. What I do want to highlight here is the recently published standard, so you can see the reference. Not yet. Here we go. Yeah, so the ISO ASTM 52938-1 EHS requirements for PBF machines, which is the first standard intended for harmonization, okay, in Europe. So harmonization meaning that this standard has just been offered to be cited in the European Journal of the European Commission. So it's intended for harmonization under the machinery legislation. And will be soon published. Yeah, the standard was. Okay, so we'll have Catherine Lubino, that's the go-to the go-to person for this kind of matter. So if you have any question for her after the meeting. Okay, so yeah, this first standard, I just mentioned that, not in this slide, but this work, this pioneer, is a pioneer work, was, I'm about to trend. It was led by ADAP in France, okay, and the joint group, they are now working on the second part, which is dedicated to DED. So that's the current status of this, the joint group, and the future part of the part 3 of this series will be dedicated to binder jetting, okay, MBG. I think that's all, and sorry for, taking on the time. So now, I will hand over to Cyrielle. So Cyrielle Fournier, she will be explaining you, give you some highlights about the European project, which is the most important part of this presentation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you and good afternoon. So I am Cyrielle, the coordinator of the SAM project standardization for AM, and this is in the frame of this project that we are gathered today. I am really happy because maybe more than a year ago, it was just word on a document, on a paper, and I'm really happy to see that this project came a reality. Just a few words to present the program in which the SAM project is organized. So it is a project funded by the European Commission under the Single Market Program, and UNM decided to answer a call dedicated to additive manufacturing. ESMEA is the European agency who is in charge of this program. And his objective is to promote stakeholder representation in the European standardization, and in particular small and medium enterprise. The objective is also to make sure that there is an alignment between the European Union standardization strategy and the annual work program, and to make sure to support the green and digital transition. In the case of this program and this project, the target are the standardization bodies who can also ask for service provider to build the project. So the initial objective of the call for additive manufacturing was to develop a standard with the triple logo, EN, ISO, ASTM, as Eric presented at the beginning of this masterclass. The other objective is also to make sure that the European know-how is strongly reflected in EN, ISO, ASTM document. As Alison presented at the beginning of the presentation, the joint group are led by ISO and ASTM, and we want to make sure that there is a European voice in this group. So the impact and how it will be measured, that the project will be a success. It will be a success if we increase the number of European participation in ISO ASTM group, and also if we are able to propose new standards with the European leadership. But I'm talking about EN ISO ASTM project. So the project SAM is organized into and divided into 3 axes. The first one is to prepare the ground for binder jetting process. At the moment, there is a lot of project standard documents for PBF. DED is starting, and the idea is to prepare the ground for binder jetting, and also to make sure that company who will use binder jetting and develop machine will be compliant with the machinery regulation. So the idea is to develop a safety machinery standard for binder jetting. And the objective also with this project is to ensure confidence in this project. The second axis, and I'm not going to talk a lot about this, is the masterclass. So it is today, and the objective is to inform you about the standardization progress, work ongoing in additive manufacturing, and to make sure that we can have new experts and new people joining the standardization group. The last axis is maybe the biggest one. The objective is to prepare like a roadmap, European roadmap, defining the 5 standards that should be developed in priority in additive manufacturing. I didn't say that the project has a duration of 4 years, and it started in July. And the working group under the technical committee of European of additive manufacturing has a year to prepare this roadmap with the 5 key topics, and that will be then developed by academics and proposed as EN ISO ASTM document. But maybe a little picture will help you to understand the different steps. So the first year is to prepare this roadmap. Then, when the 5 priority standards are identified, ask for academics to prepare the draft and the content of the document with the support of the research and technology organization. And then the academics will have about 2 or 3 years to prepare these documents, and then they will be proposed as new EN ISO ASTM documents. As I said, the working group is currently preparing the roadmap. We have already input an idea of new project, but you are encouraged to scan the QR code and to answer to this the survey, to also present your needs and say among the different projects proposed if some of them are really important for you. So to conclude, regarding industry, we need you to provide your expectation through the roadmap and also through participation to CEN TC 438. Academics, you can be a service provider in some months, so you are encouraged to join the project. And we all count for you to shape the standard, the AIM standard of tomorrow. Okay, Alison, maybe I don't know if you make the transition for the first roundtable or...
Transition, and you also gave the information about the QR code. So there is a QR code, I don't think everyone saw it. So you are kind of invited to respond to this survey, because this will contribute to the ongoing work on the roadmap mentioned by Cyril. So you have the QR code there, and also it was in the slide before the screen. So yeah. So I was telling you that there was a QR code before we started the masterclass. So we are kindly invited to respond to this survey, because your answers will feed into the ongoing work about the roadmap. So there is a European roadmap on standardization. So they will, throughout this masterclass this afternoon, we will be collecting your inputs, and your inputs will also be discussed in the last roundtable, which is the closing session by Eric, Benoit, and Fabien Sobras. Okay, so this survey will be online until the end of the second roundtable, meaning until 4:30. So you have until 4:30 to reply to this survey, please. Okay, so now I don't know what time is. Yeah, so what time should we? Yeah, so we are the perfect time to start the second round, the first roundtable, which will be qualification on aerospace additive manufacturing. So, and this roundtable will be moderated by Cyril, and we have guys. So we have 3 people here: Marius Lacomiec from EOS from Germany. So please come to the forefront. We have, who's the second? I don't know. Yeah, so Hugo Sistache from Safran.
Okay.
And David Schimbeck from Airbus in Germany as well. So welcome, everybody, and you have the micro here.
So we will now move to our first roundtable dedicated to qualification and certification challenges for additive manufacturing in the aerospace sector. Additive manufacturing is transforming the way we design and produce parts. It enables a lighter structure, more complex geometries, and new levels of performance. However, in a sector such as aerospace, innovation alone is not enough. Moving from prototype to certified industrial production requires a very high level of reliability, repeatability, and traceability. This is where standards and qualification frameworks play a crucial role. They provide a common language for industry, technology providers, and certification authorities. In doing so, they help build the trust that is necessary to scale up additive manufacturing and integrate it into critical aerospace applications. The aerospace sector has been at the forefront of this development, as it must reconcile rapid technological innovation with extremely demanding safety requirements. That is why today's panel brings together perspectives from across the value chain, from a major aircraft manufacturer, a leading engine manufacturer, and a key technology provider. We will explore several important questions. What are the main challenges today in qualifying additive manufacturing processes and parts for aerospace application? How can standards support and accelerate the qualification process? And what are the remaining gaps where further standardization efforts are needed at the European and international levels? I am very pleased to welcome our speaker to try to answer these questions. With at first Marius, who is Global Manager Technology Funding and Standardization in EOS. Hugo, who is Materials and Processes Expert at Safran Aircraft Engines. And David, who is Metallic Materials Engineer at Airbus Defence and Space. To start and to try to start answering this question, Marius, I give you the mic.
Suriel, thank you very much for inviting me to this roundtable. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's a very great pleasure for me being today with you. So at least I will try my best to cover at least some of these topics. As you know, we all are here to speak about qualification, certification. This is a big one, especially in aerospace and space. So should I just start with my presentation, or?
Yes, you can, but maybe we will.
Hope it will work, kind of. So I try to make it very short, even though this is a very big topic. But I try to make it even a little bit different than hopefully the other guests will do it. So I won't speak only about qualification in general, but how can data support it? You know, in our days, everyone is speaking about artificial intelligence, about all these kind of big data approaches and so on. And I hope to give you a little bit the feeling what it means with additive in our context. So in general, our process is always digital, right? You cannot start a build job on an additive system, independent if it's laser powder bed fusion, if it's FDM or something different. You need a model. You need CAD data. So everything is digital from the very beginning. And, by the way, not forgetting about your systems, they are pretty much capable. Independent if they are like from our company EOS, from GE Additive, from SLM, from all of these kind of system manufacturers, we have a common language. We have a common understanding which interfaces you have to exchange data. So, I give you a very, very brief overview. So as said, these are these systems. And in the end, these systems are capable to do so since more than 30 years. So our company was founded in the year 89, and from the very beginning, the process was digital already. So I won't lose any big words about EOS, only very much in brief. We are approximately 1,400 people globally. As said, more than 36 years of experience with additive. We are making approximately 400 million of revenue. And this is the most important one. We've got now an installed base globally of approximately 5,500 systems, industrial systems. And from the very, very beginning, what we did was to collect data from that systems. I'll tell you more in a second. Digital AM cell. This is one I want to talk with you in the next 3 minutes. And data pilots. So what is that? A digital AM cell, I call it the best configuration meeting your needs. So that means it can be an AM system, but it can be also combined with automation where needed. But, and this is the most relevant topic, it's always connected via software. So there are different kind of ways to get access into your system. And as said, independent from the machine manufacturer, each of these machine manufacturers made these interfaces to get access directly into that system and get the data that you need. And from the very beginning, as mentioned, one of our biggest treasures in my company is that for each system that we produced, more than 5,500 of these systems, we have like a digital card of this system. That means we make in our factory a factory acceptance test where we run that system the first time with the requirements of the customer that wants that system. And with this, coming from our friends here from space and aerospace, we always say equal or better. When you build one system, and we have this know-how about materials and material data, then our aim is to improve the quality constantly, not reduce it, obviously. Okay, the prices might go up as well, but I'm not a sales guy, so that's why I don't know even, but anyway. And as said, software, get access to this data. You can collect it over our own software, but what we did also with my team is to check all different kind of software solutions available. From the procurement phase, from product development, like for example, working together with Siemens NX, or for example, in the planning of your production with CO-AM, with Through Your Mind software, and so on, or going over till warehousing, shipment, and so on. So there are a lot of different solutions available on the market that you can really empower your AM procedures. And also it helps you in your planning. That means before you need to qualify and certify the product itself, you can have something like a digital twin before and then work on it and see if there are any kind of roadblocks and things and so on. But now coming to the point, why are we doing that? And we will have much further talks about qualification and certification, but this is something that you need as a basis, like IQ, OQ, PQ. So why are we getting this data? It's because of predictive maintenance, predictive quality, and also optimizing your OEE, overall equipment effectiveness. And this gives you a very, very good balance and a good, let's say, like a basement to then improve your quality. Because first you have to measure something in order to check if it's good or wrong. And just to give you maybe a little bit more technical details, what I was speaking about the interfaces. So our systems or all different other recent systems on the market, they have different interfaces. Via REST API, you can get historical data like simple values like the duration of a build job or, for example, temperatures inside and so on. But you can also get live data over OPC-UA. This is like a common language that we machine manufacturers have to exchange that data. And this data you can then store, you can combine it, you can label it with your different kind of quality assurance systems that you have in your companies, or with your MES or ERP system. And this, in combination, gives you the ability then to define different algorithms that improve the systems, and also to check if something is within your balance or not. And just to give you a feeling, what we did already is, for example, to check the O2 sensors in your systems. Our machines have more than 200 sensors on board, and sometimes they age, sometimes they fail. And with this, for example, specifically speaking about aerospace and space requirements, build jobs out of this industry, it's not seldom that a build job is longer than 200 machine hours. I've even saw in the space industry build jobs for 500 machine hours. And this is something you do not want to lose, that build jobs due to not working O2 sensor. So these things are like, for example, the filter exchange, powder dosing. How bad is it if your recoater goes over the build job and you lose that build job only because some sections are not recoated well? So this is just a feeling, and we can discuss this later today. And now coming to the end. So the big data. I have more than 100 systems deployed on my own sites for material development, process development, and system development. And with that, I can directly check live all these kind of things when they are working, and then improve them all the time. So this is also something I would really encourage you when you're working with a bigger fleet of systems, like obviously you have, David, as I know, to get advantage of that data. Because it gives you a very simple one. When, for example, speaking about, well, which materials are you working on? People are speaking always about this kind of very tiny things and specifics, but I say, well, no, look at that. EN718, aluminium, 316L and Thai, they are the majority. They are more than 80% of the demand. The rest, all these kind of colorful pieces here, yeah, you can see on what are you focusing then. So now this is really the end. Also, I would like to warmly invite you, as Alison and Cyrielle and Eric said already, if you want to work on standards, it's a great honor for me to be the chairperson for this ISO TC 261, the Technical Committee 261, the biggest one globally for additive manufacturing. If you have any needs, anything that you want to work on together, please join us. Everyone can contribute, so I'm more than happy to work together with you. Thank you. This was now.
Thank you very much, Marius. Thank you. I propose to have the view of Hugo and then David before having some questions and exchanges. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks. Thanks for the invitation. I will talk about a little of the challenges for the qualification, the machine qualification for the aeronautic market. First, why qualification? Why we need to do this kind of qualification? The first step is the needs from the mandatory regulation, like the EASA. For us, the EASA, we have a specific memo, the CMS 8, which is at the issue 4. And if you look at the CMS, you can see that the M processes needs to have a material and process specification to define the key variable and key process parameters, to have a statistical coverage of engineering properties, to have the appropriate and substantiated use of standards, and all of this to have achievable specification which allow a consistent production. Consistent production is the key word in this. All of this needs to be done according to the conformity of the applicable design data. So we need to have a link between the applicable data, the design data, and the standards, the specification, all that we use at the end for the production. All of this is detailed in the IR recommended guidance for certification of AM components. But at the end, the conclusion is that the AM are special processes. The AM processes are special processes, and this according to the EASA MCE 70, The important with the special processes like welding is that we cannot be 100 controlled routinely. So we have to demonstrate the process is reproducible, efficient, and consistent. So for this, we need to have a machine qualification and a process control document, the PCD, which is linked to the specification, which is linked to the type design and the design data. If we look more in the IR recommending guidance, you can see this kind of diagram. With the first step is the IQ, which is the machine qualification. It is that the machine supplier delivers the machine, which is calibrated. You want to have 300 watts with the laser. You have 300 watts at the end. So it's the first step. After this, you have the process and the specification development to go to the OQ, the machine operational qualification, which is the verification of the procedure and test plan to demonstrate the capability of the machine. And to reach the MQ here, which is the material qualification, so the material specification linked to the design values. So link to the design values here in the MQ. You can use the standards, but with some demonstration and with a link to the design value. With all of this, you can go to the last part, which is a PQ, which is specific to the parts. It is a performance qualification. You will force the KPV in the PCD with some verification, which are mentioned in the specification, and with the first article inspection. And after the first article inspection, you can produce with the monitoring of the production. This is for new MMP, but if it's an MMP that you know, you can directly go to the IQ, to the OQ, because you have the process specification. You have to develop the specific process parameter, but you have directly all the parts to do that. And after, you can go to the PQ directly, because the MQ is already in your specification, and you just verify that the machine and the specific parts production is okay with your specification. If you look a little before with the link between the specification and the production, you have all the specifications which are frozen in the type design during the certification. So we can see the raw material specification, the process specification with the KPV leads, the KPV control, the need for qualification, the material specification with the specification for chemistry, metallurgical health, the NDT, the drawings. And when you have the certification, you can go to the first step for the production, which is the raw material agreement and machine qualification. If you modify anything in the type design, if you change the machine, if you change the configuration, like the software or the hardware, you have to do an update of the qualification. After you go specific for the part with the PQ, the demonstration of the compliance to the type design with the PCD and the FAA. If you modify something during the PQ or after the PQ, like the specific value of the KPV of the kind of things, you have to do a new revalidation of the PQ. And when you have validated the PQ, you can go to serial production with only the production control and monitoring. Why are we here today for the standards? Because we have lots of challenge with this kind of qualification. Today we have a limited quantity of qualified IM part supplier and machine. We have a limited common qualification principles or test plans available, and a limited knowledge of aeronautic requirements. So for the moment, we need for each OEM to support all the road to qualification with each new potential supplier. We have to explain the aims, the principle of qualification, to us to write the procedure for some supplier, we have not write them, to do all the test plan. So it is an important cost and time for each new qualification for us. And we want to develop the supply chain, and for this, the standardization is the first level. The analytic first step for the standardization is the EN 9100 accreditation for the quality system and mindset management. After, we can go to the common preliminary requirements with all the standards from ISO ASTM or AMS, for example. Just a warning, the chosen standard ecosystem needs to be linked to the design value. It is already included into material spec like ASTM or in the link with AMS and MPDS, for example, for the American standards. We have already the common testing and inspection method from ISO ASTM, and we have some development for the in working. We are working on some development with the preliminary qualification like MCC qualification or like NatCap PRE accreditation, to have some organizations that do a first step for the qualification, to have a first level of robustness of suppliers. And at the end, we do the last step because it is important to have a final verification from us. It is mandatory from the EASA and the FIR, linked to the DOA and the POA, the Design Approval Organization and the Production Approval Organization, which is some gifts that the authorities give to us. Just in time.
Thank you, Hugo, for this overview, the overview from Safran. And let's move to David.
Perfect. Seems not to be.
Should be in the sequence.
Let's see. That looks like Airbus. Perfect. So, also good afternoon from my side. My name is David. And as you can see, I'm not from the usual aircraft you are used to fly to vacation in the summertime. I'm from Defense and Space, and I'm located in Germany. And today I would like to give you a short overview on what's our view on certification and which kind of hurdles we need to overcome in order to certify our materials and processes. Yeah? So at the beginning, Airbus does not see additive manufacturing or certification of additive manufacturing as a kind of a line. We see it rather as a circle. Yeah? As Hugo already mentioned, we are talking about a so-called process intense material or special process. Yeah? So these kind of materials you're producing at the same time as you're producing the part. So it's a circle where we are starting with our R&D phase, going to try to elaborate a robust process specification and material specification. Do that via step-by-step approach with the first functional parts, then structural parts, going from part qualification to family qualification and then process qualification. And then go to the technical exchange, like for standardization in the ISO ASTM committee. Yeah? So, and with that, we start at the beginning again. Yeah? From that, we learn a lot, going again to R&D phase for the next step, going from functional to structural parts, going from part classification or qualification to family qualification. And at the end, so we at Airbus see as the spider in the spider web, yeah, the materials and process domain. We have the exchange with EASA and FAA, with the authorities, collecting all the data we need to have from our other departments. Like for example, stress, design, quality, procurement, supply, manufacturing and certification. We collect all of those kind of inputs to communicate to FAA, EASA, or in my case, to the military authorities with a common voice. As you can see, there are quite already a bunch of materials, processes out there, so we have at the end two or three metal materials qualified for laser powder bed fusion. We are going to DED already with the first material, and then as well for on the non-metallic side we also have two materials we are currently using in our aircraft. At the end we have 30 part numbers certified and approximately 10,000 parts produced and flying on our civil and military aircrafts already. Yeah? So this is something where we are really trying to push forward, and with all those iterations. So it started in 2015 with the first discussion with our authorities in that kind, with our civil authorities. But with this step-by-step approach, we landed kind of in this year with the first primary structural element made from titanium in DED, which we are currently discussing to qualify in our aerospace environment. But there is a lack. There is a lack of standard, and I would say I'm probably not the latest, but one of the newcomers here in the ISO ASTM world, with the preliminary work item on cold spray adhesion, because we see emerging technologies, like for example in the military context, cold spray as a repair technology and as a hybrid manufacturing technology, and there is a lot of lack of understanding and standards which need to be elaborated within the next few years. It was mentioned beforehand as a service provider, R&T or institutes, research institutes can act as service provider, and they have a bunch of very, very good ideas. Yeah, taking into consideration, for example, adhesion of the cold spray deposit onto a substrate. Yeah, there is a bunch of several ideas out there how to test this kind of adhesion of this deposited material on the substrate, but none of them are really standardized. Yeah. So, and for me as an OEM, trying to qualify this technology, the material and this technology, it's a nightmare to go to the authorities and first of all discuss with them how we test our material properties. Yeah. So therefore, I'm really searching here for having standards in that area to ease up, speed up the qualification at the end in aerospace industry. And with that, thank you.
Thank you very much, David. And it is really interesting to see you talking about cold spray, because we had some discussion, is cold spray part of additive manufacturing or not? Regarding the roadmap, we have also some proposal regarding cold spray. So I don't have the answer, but there is a need. So, thank you, thank you very much. Before giving the mic to the audience, I have maybe two questions. Maybe the first one is quite general. Is there? You talk about the different documents and reference documents that you have to progress on the qualification, but do you have a specific strategy, maybe in Safran or in Airbus, to go to the qualification of machines?
We are working with the standardization to know how to do that, but for the moment we have only internal standards, and we will use the external standard to have a basis, and after with this basis we can add some requirements in our internal standard, but we will use all the supply chain, and we will know what is the level of the supply chain with the international standard to see how it is possible to have a large supply chain, and after just do the last verification at Safran with our internal standards. This is for all the parts, and in the future we will develop the use of only the external standardization for the no critical parts, because this kind of parts are no very looked from the authority, from the EASA, and the mandatory is very low in terms of requirements. So we can just let the standardization and the qualification, like NatCap, like AMCC, do the work, and after just look if it's okay, and we can use the supplier directly.
Thank you.
Maybe some additional comments to that. So in general, how we see qualification here, it's twofold for us. So on the one hand side, the supplier qualification or the shop floor qualification we have at Airbus or in the supply chain out there, and the technical qualification. And to be honest with you, for the supply chain qualification, we are relying a lot of external standards as well. Yeah. So in the defense area especially, yeah, for those low quantities, we cannot go a lot with internal standards, yeah. Just buying a few kilograms of material, yeah, it would be a mess. But the issue is the technical qualification at a certain point, because there is a lot of IP in there. And this needs to be balanced somehow, what you put into external standards and what you keep as an IP internally and at the company. And that's a critical path we need to elaborate here as well.
Marius, I don't know if you want to add something to...
Maybe very shortly in the direction of standards. So honestly, I am very proud that we have reached really a milestone. So we have published 3 years ago a standard for IQ, OQ, PQ, and I'm very grateful that of each of your slides from US OEMs, we see exactly these wordings. So I think this was a great achievement also for our AM business, that we have the understanding. It's IQ, OQ, PQ, or even, as Hugo mentioned, even material qualification could be also a part of that, if necessary, as you described the both ways, up and down. So I think we have already things in place that you guys, the user of the industry, should use. So it's not only asking, well, is there something? Yes, there is something. Let's use it and let's improve it. I can also invite you once again. In 2 years from now, I need to revise that document. And I'm more than happy to get your input.
Thank you, Marius. So you haven't here, Marius, and we'll be also happy to help you to join the group if you want to revise this document. A last question before giving the mic to the audience, because I work in the standardization office and I love standards. So we with the project SAM, our objective is to support and to develop EN ISO standards, so to make sure that we have this collaboration continuing. But in aerospace, you talk about other reference documents developed by EASA, NatCap, and so on. And my question is it like an advantages or difficulties to have several organizations who provide documents, such documents?
At a certain point, it's difficult to screen all the documents, to be honest. Yeah, but what I really love at this approach, this triple label approach at the end, is that you end up then with one standard which is applicable worldwide, kind of. Yeah. As a company, Airbus, as a company, we are split among 4 countries, yeah, the main 4 nations, plus we do have also a lot of R&D in India, China, and as well in the US, yeah. And at least this is a solid foundation for all of us, yeah, to discuss the same stuff at the end equally, yeah. But if you have ASTM talking about something different than EN, ISO, and so on, this would be really a mess. So this is definitely easing our life significantly.
Great. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's important, but it's difficult to involve in all of these standards. It's very, very difficult because lots of standards, lots of new projects, because IM is lots of improvement every day. So we try to be involved in the ASTM ISO. We are more for the moment involved in the AMS, but it depends of the subject, and we opt to be more involved in the ISO ASTM. For us, the AMS is specific aerospace market. The ISO ASTM is larger than that. In the AMCC document, we have some automotive OEMs in the development of the specification. So it is important for us to know what is important for the other areas of industry, but it is important to have a specific aeronautic specification too and standard, because in the aeronautic we have lots of requirements. We are very difficult to work with us. So we need to have the high level for the metallurgical health, for the qualification of the specific standards, or specific machine, or specific process. So I think the two is okay, but we cannot be involved in all the project.
Maybe a short comment. So in my role as the chairperson for ISO TC261, I really take this serious and try my best to reduce complexity. So that's why, just as an example, I invited David, as we spoke about your plans for cold spray. Then I said, well, of course you can stay with the national standardization groups or directly come to ISO, join us, and then we have a more label standard and bring it back to our home countries. So I think this is something like my daily job, to try really my best to reduce complexity. As only an example, the NASA standards for additive manufacturing, it's a nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate, I know the guys who wrote that, so I appreciate them very much as my colleagues and experts, but it's 300 pages each. And it's even the lines are shorter, like in your presentation, Hugo. There was already a lot of content. So no one will read that, okay? It's so difficult to apply it, so that's why I really take it serious to reduce complexity where possible, because I know space and aerospace is the most complex industry mainly in the world. I agree with that, but to write it in such a language that people can use it.
Thank you. So I'm really happy to have your support for big companies, also for small and medium enterprise to enter a global market. So thank you very much, and maybe we can take some questions from the audience, or I don't know if Annelise or Amandine are in the room to... Okay. If we have a question on the chat. Ah bon? Oui, oui. Attends, elles sont où, Annelise? Ah, ok, je regardais là-bas. Ok. Regarding the standard ISO ASTM 59421, system performance and reliability, acceptance tests, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't understand the question. Machine. But I think that we only have the title of the standard, so it's not clear. I think that the question is that standard applicable for being used by Safran and Airbus? This one. Okay, sorry. I think that, do you know this standard, additive system and performance and reliability, and do you use it?
We recommend to use it, but we not mandatory to use it. But it is included in our internal specification to have the global comprehensive of the qualification of machine, and to have some tips of how to do that.
Nothing to add here. Same actually for us. So we use those kind of standards, yeah, for our internal specification. Plus some additional requirements. I think each OEM has its own requirements here for some of the parts, yeah, but we use that as a solid foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a very nice talk about these topics you have, especially in your industry. Also, we have it in our industry. So, from my perspective, from KSB, a pump valve manufacturer, also critical industries, there is one idea I have for especially standardization would be as something you have on your presentation, interoperability of the machines, with something like a digital fingerprint of a part, yeah, that is also usable for different machines of the same kind. Yeah, that you have less inspection on the part, because you have a digital fingerprint, and when it's fine or in between 5% variation, you have always the good part. How could this be a standardization project, or at least a approach for the industry to join such a topic?
Yeah, so very difficult topic actually. Yeah, so handling all the data for military industry. Well, we are not used to handle those big data at the moment. Yeah, so we are usually not doing all that stuff. Yeah, but I would say that this data approach, this data-driven approach, potentially machine learning, artificial intelligence, is the next step. Authorities might be a little bit hesitant on introducing those kind of stuff, but at the end, if we want to evaluate those big data, as also Mario has shown, it's a key topic. But we need still to, at least from my perspective, convince the authorities to go along this path.
Maybe to jump onto that directly, so thank you, Stefan, for the question. So I'm completely with you. I'm also coming from this kind of sensitive industry. Before my career at EOS, I was also in the military sector. And honestly, I tell you something, like in the bad way, we Europeans, we struggle. Not the US guys, not the Chinese, okay? Because I'm working since more than 10 years very closely with the US Air Force or now with the US Marines. And they are just doing it. There are the possibilities to get advantage of that data. There are governmental-driven server landscapes being offered by AWS, by Microsoft, by others. They are definitely only for this one specific company or governmental organizations, and they're doing it since years, and it's working. So all these approaches that I've shown you, now to be the bad cop, the US guys are doing it. We in Europe, we are still a little bit, let's call it, hesitant. So that's why we should do it. It's there. It's there already, and the possibility is there.
For the moment, we are working with the EASA and the IFR on this subject, with the monitoring process and with all of the data approach. But it's not possible to do no tests. At the end, we opt to do some just point to be sure and use all the data to be sure that the density of it is good, the strategy of the laser is good, this kind of thing, because we know with the captors, with all of the machine, what is the end material, and for the moment it's not used directly for the production. It's used to add the quality management more important, to be sure that the machine is already in line and this kind of thing. But in the future, it will be the way. It will be the way. Yeah.
And maybe to add one last topic, especially on your question, Stefan. So many of you guys, I think you know this kind of in situ monitoring possibilities, that you have a camera system, it can be optical, thermographic or something, in the system, and you measure something. The problem is, especially in the metal process, with the self-healing effect, that you might measure a hotspot, a cold spot, something like that, or irregularity, but you heal it in the next kind of layers. But now, what I want to say, when you add other data, that you have system-relevant data from your machine, combine it with AI, then you might have a very, very high accuracy to determine is this a failure or not. And this is now the window of opportunity that we have now the processing of this data is not so expensive anymore due to the possibilities of AI. And taking advantage of the data, this can boost us. And I would highly encourage if we in Europe would have these joint investigations.
I mean, for me, process monitoring is actually another tool in the toolbox of NDT at the end. Yeah. If we can get rid of all the other more expensive NDT methods, I would be happy. Not sure if that will happen in the upcoming future. Yeah.
To reduce it at least.
Thank you. Eric?
I need to change my question because you already respond to that. My question was, do we have some specific data to store for aeronautic application? So could be what you just respond with in situ monitoring, and is there a lack here? Different data than you have in other field, not in AM. So, is it data? Is there data specific to AM that we have to keep or to check?
Yes, all is not all, but lots of things is specific to AM. But we have already all the captors. We have already the software. We have already lots of things, and we use it for expertise. Now we need to demonstrate the correlation, to demonstrate that when we have this spot in the software, it is this defect in the part, and it is okay for us or no, and this kind of thing, and to demonstrate that it will be a way to do the NDT, to do the non-destructive tests. For the moment, we use only it for expertise and to have a more important management of quality. But at the end, we hope to introduce it as a new NDT. Yeah, and the machine is good. The machine is working for the moment. But we need to correct it, to do some tests to show all the kind of possibilities of the kind of defects are already seized by the machine, by the captors.
I mean, additionally, maybe to complement here, the point is why we are such a safe industry is actually that EASA and FAA asks us to understand everything what we do. And understanding all those data is not doing some tests, it's doing quite a bunch of tests and very costly, very expensive tests, but also you need to understand basically then the outcome of the tests as well, yeah? And this is the critical aspect and makes it not so easy to just implement the big data analysis, AI and so on and so forth, yeah? Because at the end you need to understand what this kind of machine learning programs is doing with your data. And that's a critical aspect we need to show against the authorities. Not only civil, but also military.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe a question for Marius in the chat. Is the biggest challenge of QM not in defining the right material properties with the different material structures, such as grains? Why not have a standard on this?
Okay, this is a tricky one, yeah? Thanks for it. Yeah, so as we had a talk some minutes before, this is a new special process, right? Additive. So it's not like CNC machining, you have your raw part, you have your rod, and then you can do whatever you need to do. You can get material properties, not only due to the material, the grain size contribution and stuff like that. You can directly steer it by your exposuring strategy during the process. So the complexity is endless. So I can only tell we are working on that currently, due to different beam shape technologies at EOS, or playing around with different other values, like of course obviously the laser power, but also how the exposure strategy itself looks. So opening the box of the Pandora to add, for example, a specific material, like we know, for example, nickel basis alloys, as I've shown you, EN718 is the common material for additive especially in our sectors here. Of course, I could change something in this material, in the grain size contribution, or add some more nickel alloys into that and stuff, but I think this would make the complexity even higher. So that's why I would say more or less no to that. Because I would say in additive, to be successful, you need some constant things. And the material is now kind of like a common base that we are using for additive. And to change this would be nothing that I would like to do now, maybe in the future.
Maybe also to complement here, that's the reason why we start with part qualifications at the beginning, not with process qualifications. Keeping a process parameter constant, having a certain heat input onto 1 square millimeter changes the material significantly as if you have the same heat input on a way larger cross-section. Yeah? So here the thought is really going towards not having constant parameters anymore, but having constant material properties. Yeah? This would go rather into the process qualification direction, but currently part qualification is the way to go at the moment. And I think that tackles also a little bit that question then.
Yeah, totally agreed.
Thank you. Is there any other question in the room?
Thank you very much for the presentation. I have one question. For your experience, is post-processing still one of the biggest gap in additive manufacturing standards? And do you use internal specification to compensate that?
Yes. So it's very tricky, to be honest. Yeah, surface finishing and all of that. Yeah, we need to consider again what I've mentioned before. Aerospace is a very tiny sector actually, and it's kind of borderline. Do you invent something new? Yeah, you have probably only single source supplier. Yeah, so we need to go alongside with the established post-processing technologies at a certain point. Yeah, for sure. The fine-tuning for some parts, I would also say trying to develop new technologies, but this is something we need to rather adapt to additive manufacturing than to reinvent the wheel new, I would say. Yeah. And at the end, this is something where we need to deal with additive manufacturing. Each technology has its advantages and disadvantages. And I would say, especially in terms of structural elements, fatigue-loaded elements, yeah, this kind of surface roughness is one of the major disadvantages of additive manufacturing we need to deal with. Yeah? But there are certain kind of design strategies where you can cope with these knockdown factors at the end. Yeah?
Just to complete, yeah, it's a big challenge. But for the moment, I agree with you. We already use some processes that are used in the conventional industries and conventional processes, but we need to adapt them. We need to add some specific paragraph in the standard, for example, I think. For the moment, we use only internal specification for this kind of processes. But we are looking for it, and we are looking if it's possible to do something, because it's lots of innovation, it's lots of specific process with one only supplier, so it is difficult to do a standardization with that.
Oui. Thank you, Marius.
Of course.
Thank you very much. I'm Camille Pozon. I'm from the academic side, the university, so I work very much with process development and materials, designing new alloys. There is a very wide portfolio of many new materials coming up, and we are quite creative. I wonder how you see that with respect to standardization, and you explained that it's a lengthy and costly process to go through qualification, so what determines whether you will consider one new alloy or not to go through this process?
We will not standardize all the material. The first step, because even in the conventional, we don't have the standardization of all the material. For example, in the aeronautic market, we have lots of specific material, for example, for the disc, for this kind of parts, which are very high value parts with very high value materials, and we have only internal standards for that. So it is not for all the materials. We have, in every time we will be, the first person that develops the material and use it will have internal standard. It's an evidence. And at the end, all the industry will choose the good material for do the standardization, and this is why the ISO, ASTM, and the AMS are working on it and are working on the proposal from the OEM. So for the moment, if an OEM come with a material that he wants, but he is only the only person that use it, no standardization. If lots of industrial come to use it and want to have a standardization, want to lower the prices and this kind of thing, we can do this work. But for the moment, it will be lots of great material that you present in your presentation, Inconel, T64. We need standardization for that. For the specific aluminium in one side that only free industrial will use, maybe in the future, but not today.
Maybe also from the structural aerospace industry. So it's a little bit twofold, yeah. As a materials engineer, I don't want to rape materials that are actually designed for forging or for rolling, yeah, on the additive manufacturing process. It's a significantly different process, and actually you cannot take the advantage of this kind of alloy chemistry at the end, yeah. This is the one hand side. The other hand side, as I've experienced it by my own, yeah, I did my PhD thesis on the scandium modified aluminum alloy Airbus has developed, yeah. But the point is, having again those kind of low quantities in aerospace industry, you will increase the price significantly at the end, yeah? And also here cost pressure is a certain kind of aspect, and we need to consider that, yeah, especially if we only have one powder supplier for one of those materials, because everyone wants to do in the aluminum sector silicon 10, yeah, or silicon 7, yeah, then you will not find the powder producer, yeah, which is making those small quantities of the scandium modified powder, yeah, for example. Yeah? So these are the leverages, or this needs to be balanced somehow. For sure, in terms of aluminum, there are only few materials out there having really high strength, so competing with the classical aluminum alloys. So there is a certain gap, yeah, which needs to be filled. But you need to have a certain kind of market reach for your material in order to get standardized, to get qualified and certified.
Thank you. So maybe to also comment on your question. So as I've shown you the slide with all these kind of colorful sections with different materials, I completely agree with both of you that we have to bet on the right horse. The problem is if you have the need, for example, for atomic fusion processes and you need a very, very specific alloy, of course you must go for it. Of course, there's no way. But please be careful, because I saw so many materials being developed, kind of pre-qualified, and they end up somewhere, not in the industry. And so that's why I think I would just encourage you to be careful. And the other way around, I would be pretty much looking to the future, as David said about part families, to qualify a part family, not only one material number, but the whole bunch. So for example, you would have a nickel-based alloy. If it's 718, 713, 71XX, this could be something that we take in our standardization work to have like a procedure how to qualify a certain material family. It may be a titanium alloy, nickel-based alloys, copper, chrome alloy, something, and then don't have so many efforts for the qualification in detail of the specific alloy. This might help, but it's a long way, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Marius. Thank you, Hugo. Thank you, David. And it's time to move to the next roundtable dedicated to energy. If you have another question, we will have a break in about 1 hour, so you will be free to reach our panelists to ask further questions. Thank you very much.
So guys, we are going to jump into the next roundtable. So it's AM qualification for energy sector. So we are going to have Stefan Brown from KSB. So you can come forward. Benjamin Harry from Engie in France, and Guillaume Badinier from Framatome. So this roundtable will be moderated by Flore Villaret from EDF. So welcome everyone.
Hello. Okay. After this very interesting roundtable on aeronautic, we will now talk about another very complicated and exigent sector with the energy sector. And so let's talk about what are the needs and expectations and norms for this energy sector. I'm Flore Villaret. I'm an R&D engineer at EDF, and I'm working on additive manufacturing since almost 10 years now, and especially on energy application, nuclear power, and hydropower. We have also Stefan Brown, which is a business development manager in additive manufacturing at KSB. And he works since 18 years in standardization and 12 years in additive manufacturing. He is chair of DIN committee, AM for pressure equipment, and vice chair of AM at DIN. We have also Benjamin Harry. So he works as metallic expert, metallic material expert at Engie Laborec since 2019. And for several years, he is working on various AM-related topics. For example, he participates in the European project who work on IM qualification, NUCOBAM. To close this very nice roundtable, we have Guillaume Badinier. So he is material expert also at Framatome. He is in the fuel engineering department, so he overlooks at the technical specification, machine process qualification, and industrialization for LPBF metallic components for nuclear fuel application. He is also particularly involved in standardization for additive manufacturing technology and in the development of IM nuclear codes like RCCM or RCCC. So we all have prepared a few slides to present to the audience our point of view of normalization for energy industry. So please, Stefan.
Yeah, so let's start. Why I'm here for the energy sector. So small figures about KSB, a pump and valve manufacturer. We have 16,000 employees worldwide and 3 billion sales revenue, and are located all around the globe in every market. So we have a lot of plants in Germany. We have 4 in France, a lot others in Europe, but also in South Africa, in South America, in Asia, and also in Australia, so worldwide. We have one additive manufacturing center, then located in Germany for our company, and want to popularize the additive industry then worldwide. So KSB is working in different sectors all over the complete industry, and especially one sector we're talking about today is the energy sector. So we are providing parts for all these different energy-related topics, the fossil-fueled power, then also the renewable energy, We have heating and cooling that is also in the energy sector and providing, therefore, also a lot of spare parts with our additive business. We have then the new solutions like solar energy storage and also things like hydrogen. We are also using a lot in Europe. Then from the nuclear point of view, also the topic of small modular reactors that are coming, and yes, at least also fusion reactors, for example. The topic KSB is there using additive manufacturing is for at least spare parts, but also for new products in all these fields with short-term delivery times that we can focus on also faster development on parts, faster development on new technologies, and also increasing their total view for the market. The boundary conditions for the energy sector, a bit other perspective than the IQ-OQ-PQ, is that we have a lot of standardization efforts in the different sectors. So we need for all these critical sectors the personal qualification, yeah, also a lot in aerospace, and also in energy sector and for pressure equipment, for welding, for everything. We need the material certification, the feedstock, and the material itself, what we build as part together. The IQ-OQ-PQ here as machine and equipment certification. Then also the process certifications relying on this. And last but not least, then the non-destructive testing, and especially the destructive testing we additionally need also on additive parts. All these build then the fundamental parts of a qualified part at least. Yeah. And we have a lot of standards developed also in this ISO ASTM committee, as you see on the side, for all these special sectors already in place, but there is also a lack on some of these points. So at first, the base system is then the quality system in AM that we reached with the 52920 as overall certification for a facility, as ready the ground floor for additive manufacturing in critical sectors. Then as one special part from an energy sector, you see here a spare part for impeller from our company as one example, where we need a certified part within the industry, here oil and gas industry, in seawater application, where additive can make a huge benefit, especially in the part of a short-term delivery for a spare part. Here we have a DNV standard used because there is no ISO ASTM standard in place for this industry. So the next effort should be for this industry to also make for the energy industry the ISO ASTM standards, to have globally a total one standard framework. Other things like for the nuclear sector later on is Framatome more involved, I think, in this sector. We have components for a small modular reactor, for a French startup we built, where we have for molten salt a good application for AM parts, because you are so much faster than in making new products, making new processes out of it, because you can directly build the part like you have it on the scratch, test it, and go to the next step. And as last example for the hydrogen sector, we invented together with the company Funke a hydrogen heat exchanger for hydrogen fuel stations, made in additive manufacturing with a design pressure of 1050 bar at -70 degrees Celsius, as replacement for a conventional part that is 10 times bigger with the same efficiency. Yeah. Also here, then needed is a certification, a standard framework for pressure equipment. We are already in development here in the European AM standard for pressure equipment, the EN 13445 Part 14, where we need here also qualified management system and all these qualified standards to build at least a part that takes the advantages of additive manufacturing. So, and as last slide here, also related to the previous round, the materials. Yeah. So the focus should be, as also Marius mentioned, the ground base materials, like we have the steel, we have the nickel base alloys, especially 718. Then we have the titanium and the aluminum grades, and then we have at the top of the pyramid the others. Yeah? So we have to focus from the ground to the top to develop the material standards based on its needs. Thank you for attention here.
Thank you, Stefan. I think, Benjamin, you prepared some slides also about the insight we had in Nucobam and the strategy of IM in Engie.
Does it work? Oh, yeah, okay. Hello, everyone. So first, thank you to UNM and Cetim for inviting me today here. I will split my presentation into two main parts. First, I will give an insight of what we've been doing, what we did in Laborelec for the past 10 years regarding additive manufacturing. And then I will present what we did on the Nucobam projects that was between 2020 and 2024. So, for those who don't know us, we're located in the beautiful surrounding of Brussels, as you can see here, and we are the expertise and innovation center of the Engie group in Belgium. So, if I can give you a bit of a time frame of what we did in Engie, we started the IM activities in 2014, so quite in the first years of IM in the industry, I would say. And then we acquired different machine and associated equipments, characterization tool, powder characterization also between 2015 and 2017. And then we started to participate to various collaboration projects, producing some parts also, I would say, for non-critical industrial application. And as of 2019, we launched our internal certification project, where we got certification from Lloyd Register to produce additive manufacturing component E316L on one of our machine, SLM 500 machine that we had. And we got also the certification for our powder characterization lab, so we had different kind of tools to characterize the powder. And we also got the certification for this. And you can see that in the meantime, the Nucobam project started in 2020 until 2024. And I will go a bit more in details after my presentation, but for this project, we were one of the manufacturers that were participating to the project, along with 3 other manufacturers. And as of 2024, due to strategic decisions, we decided to phase out of printing activities, so really having the machine and printing the components, because we are not a producing center, we are R&D expertise center, so it was a strategic decision to stop these activities, but we are still supporting our utilities in Belgium and also so within the Engie group and also external clients for the support to procurement workflows of IM components. So meaning helping them identifying manufacturers, because sometimes they want to produce parts So most of these clients, they are clients with whom we've been working with, and then they come to us and we say, we're no longer printing, but then we can help you in notifying manufacturers and also reviewing the qualification dossier, the qualification files. And this is what we are doing right now. So here, a small overview of what we produced over the past 10 years. So component for different industries, chemical industries, oil and gas. You can see some impellers here. Also for aerospace, we did not produce component for industrial, but we participated to R&D projects, especially with the European Space Agency, for the development of new titanium alloys. And then also, yeah, for other type of industries, defense-related, for telecom application, and also we even produced some component for the Olympic Games in 2024. And generally, the conclusion of this is that depending on the applications and the clients, there were very different approaches and requirements regarding the QA/QC of AM components. So now we'll move on to the presentation of what we did during the Nucobank project. And also Guillaume from Framatome was also participating to this project. You can see all the partners here, so quite a lot of them, especially in France, but also in Belgium, in Sweden, in Spain, in the Netherlands, and in the UK. And the general goal of this project was to develop a qualification process and evaluate in-service behavior of nuclear components made in 316L by laser powder bed fusion. And the first input we needed to this was the standardization needs. And for that, we considered all the already existing code and standards. So in ASME, in RCCM, all the ISO ASTM standards that were already mentioned during the previous roundtable. Also the specific ASTM F3184, which is the ASTM standards that defines the properties the properties for 316L manufactured by Additive Manufacturing. And basically, we had to establish a workflow and an approach to present a methodology, so process validation methodology. So what we did is that we first gathered all we knew on feedstock qualification, because we had experience in that, and also we used also what was discussed during the previous roundtable regarding process qualification, material-specific properties qualification, and final part qualification. So basically, these were the different steps we considered. You can see here an example of our process validation methodology that was basically printing 3 different jobs. The first one was assessing the stability of the machine. The second one, the repeatability, because you want your process to be repeatable. And then we had a final process qualification platform to be able to say that this machine is qualified to produce 316L component for nuclear application. And this process validation methodology was done by 4 different manufacturers, because we also wanted to check the reproducibility of different manufacturers. Once we validated that step, we moved to the advanced testing program with application-specific tests, so mechanical tests, and also tests very specific to the nuclear industry, namely primary water corrosion tests, and also irradiation tests. So we used the experimental reactor of CEN in Belgium to do that. So basically, you can see a scheme of the capsule that we used. We put a lot of different mini specimens here to be tested after radiation. And at the end, once all these testing were done, we moved to the final validation platform with use case that we identified at the beginning of the project. And then we reproduce these use cases and we perform destructive examination on them, and also NDE and functional testing based on existing codes requirement for nuclear, so basically ASME and RCCM. And yeah, to finish, this is the final inputs from the Nikoman project. So we were able to demonstrate that additive manufactured 316L performs at least as well as Roth counterparts. And the use cases that we printed, so the two use cases we printed were these valve body that you see here, and also a debris filter that you put in the core of the reactor between the cladding, the fuel cladding, to collect the debris. And we did, I put also some of the tests we did on these use cases. So dimensional 3D dimensional verification, also ultrasonic measurements, and obviously pressure testing. So this is a picture of the burst test on the valve that we did at EDF, and the valve managed to go above 200 bars. And the final input of this project is that the Nikoban methodology is to be proposed and submitted to code case to ASME and RCCM in order to help standardizing additive manufacturing for nuclear application. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. So now Guillaume will present you the safety, material traceability and standard in the nuclear sector.
Good. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Guillaume Badinier, working at Framatome. So we actually, I don't have any slides on the presentation of Framatome, but we actually build nuclear power plants. We supply also nuclear fuel worldwide, and we do all the maintenance also on nuclear power plants. So I will talk about safety, material traceability and standards in the nuclear sector. And just before going deeper into that, I wanted to go back to the basics, I would say, and mostly the definition of nuclear safety, because it's really important. Of course, it's the first value in our industry. So it's defined in the French law for the French fleet, at least. So I will just read this. I think it's quite interesting just to grasp a bit of the complexity of the nuclear industry. So nuclear safety refers to all the technical provisions and organizational measures related to the design, construction, operation, shutdown, and dismantling of basic nuclear installations, as well as the transport of radioactive substances implemented to prevent accidents or limit the consequences, and more generally to protect human health and the environment. So the IAEA puts it a bit differently, but it means the same thing. Is the fundamental safety objective is to protect people and the environment from harmful effects of ionizing radiation. So that's the basics of our industry, the first core value when we work into that industry. And so when the French law talks about technical provisions, I've listed here a few of them. So obviously we work with nuclear codes, which are let's say our standards, and usually they're also based on standards. So on the French side, we have the AFCEN code, so RCCC for the fuel assemblies, RCCM is more for actually building the nuclear power plants, and then from that. So those are the global, I would say, requirements, and then we work with specifications which should be consistent with the nuclear codes we are using. And then obviously when dealing with additive manufacturing, we have CAD files, which also kind of a tricky one when we think about traceability. And then we have industry standards. We've been talking a lot about them, and especially ISO, ASTM, I think, which are very important for the development of additive manufacturing, especially in our industry. I put something, maybe not so many of you know that, but we have a limitation on the cobalt content also for nuclear application due to radiation, etc. And then, of course, one value which is very important for us is that we have to take into account experimental and industrial feedback in kind of a continuous improvement approach, so that we make sure that we constantly improve our understanding of the behavior of the material in a nuclear environment to improve the nuclear safety, basically. And then we have organizational measures as well. So again, we go back to nuclear codes, and then we have high-level standards such as ISO 19443, which is basically ISO 9001 plus all the specifics of the nuclear industry. And then we have also, well, we deal with the American standards as well, because we have market shares in the US, and so we take into account those kind of standards. So now, what are the implications for additive manufacturing? I will try to go back to the basics. So here it's an example of the LPBF process. So first of all, we start from raw material, and we go down all the way to the exploitation of the components in a nuclear power plant. And so what are the traceability requirements? They are quite stringent, I would say. So you start from powder, so you produce the powder, so you have to basically write down on paper what you did for producing the powder, what are the physical properties of the powder, etc. Same thing for 3D printing. We have to track back all the manufacturing parameters. So that's actually a real component that we printed. That's the anti-debris filter that Benjamin was talking about. That's a very nice use case for fuel assembly and in our industry for 3D printing. Yes, so traceability, and then the objective of really handling specifically the traceability is that if there is any issue during operation, we have to go back to identify what was wrong during the manufacturing of the different components, for instance. And so if we don't have traceability, if we lost traceability, then we can't do that, and we might have some issues in solving the problems, etc. So that's why we apply very stringent traceability requirements when we manufacture components for the nuclear industry. So obviously, so we have manufacturing requirements and certification requirements, paperwork. And so when we certify against requirements, and requirements we can obviously find them in the different standards. So again, here we go back to the standards that we use in the nuclear industry. We already mentioned the nuclear codes, AFCEN and AFCEN codes and ASME. That's a bit of an advertising as well. So we're actually building an AM center in Romans-sur-Isère, so we can develop our components for the nuclear industry. It will be certified according to ISO 19443. But what I wanted to say here, so obviously as well, maybe it's not so obvious. Well, it's not so obvious maybe, but we have a continuous dialogue between nuclear codes and industry standards. So we actually survey the standards, we participate to the development of the industry standards, and we make sure that we have a consistent approach in the nuclear code. So that's why standardization is a key aspect in the development and acceptance of specifically additive manufacturing solutions for the nuclear industry. So as we said already, I think we are strongly involved in the development of nuclear codes and industry standards. Also, I myself participate to the ISO TC 261 and CEN 438. But what I wanted to stress out as well is that developing European standards will allow to reinforce the sovereignty. So that's quite a unique chance as well for the European industry. So please help us in developing the standards as well. I think it will really help the European industry in developing new solutions and re-industrialize the different industry. Maybe second point I wanted to point out here is that we are in the process of updating the RCCM code with the to be able to manufacture components for the nuclear industry. So that was part of the de facto project led by EDF. So that's kind of a landmark for us because it constitutes the first step towards manufacturing reliable nuclear components with additive manufacturing techniques. So I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guillaume. Before discussing about all this presentation and opening to the question to the room, I have just a few slides to present you the strategy of EDF about additive manufacturing and normalization. So at EDF, we are working on additive manufacturing because we think that it is a good way to optimize our maintenance by building parts on demand instead of having a huge stock of spare parts. We hope that we will be able also to improve component quality, for example, in the manufacturing of AV components where we could have some chemical gradient and mechanical gradient into the parts. With additive manufacturing, we hope that we think that we can have homogeneous parts and increase performance as it's done in the aerospace industry. We think that with additive manufacturing we can build parts which will be more efficient. For example, lighter for the seismic application, or with an optimized design for the fluid performance. And we are looking for this application for all our production plants, so nuclear plants, gas plants, and hydropower plants. At EDF, we are mainly focused on a few processes. So I put hot isostatic pressing, even if it's not really an AM process, but it's a quite new process for the nuclear industry. So we are taking this process with the same path as the other. We have the fast foundry process. So in this process, we did the mold with the additive manufacturing and then mold the parts with the usual foundry process. We are and after we are really interested and we're really working on the LPBF and the WAM process. So the very good example for the LPBF is to try to apply that for the quite small and complex parts as the example here. For the WAM process, it's more for the medium or big parts. and we can benefit from the welding experience with this process. And the two last processes are more at the R&D scale, but maybe soon pushed to the industrial scale. It's a cold spray, so we talk about it a bit briefly in the aerospace table, and the LMD process for a medium part like impeller. So we, since a few years, we structured an organization through all the direction in EDF. So you know it's a big company, so we need to synchronize all the industry all the engineering direction to have a project going in the same direction. So we can go from the long term to the short term, let's say. So we have an R&D project, which is running since maybe 8 years now. In this project, we really seek to unlock the technical and scientific issue and transfer the academic research and knowledge to the industrial application. Then we have the quality industry direction. They are so leading the de facto project, and they objective is to set in place the industrial condition to allow additive manufacturing for nuclear power plants. They are acting in the normalization condition, writing guidelines for their technical advisor, and working with Framatome and the other actors to add some IAM articles in the RCCM code. And they are leading the pre-production use case qualification. Then we have maybe the last step of this IAM rocket. It's the operational engineering unit. So they are really operational. They are in direct interaction with the nuclear power plants. Their, let's say, only objective is to increase performance, so decrease cost, decrease delay for the spare parts. And they are working on finding what are the potential spare parts which will be suitable for IAM, and connects this with the suitable technology, and then launch the production project. So they are really working close with the industry direction. And the last point is they are also starting to integrate additive manufacturing in their supply contract. So it's a step-by-step process. It's done when it is possible, depending on the parts, when the requirements are not too high, when the qualification is easily possible or already done, and when we indeed have a performance increasing. I think it's all okay. So we have this strategy to start with, let's say, with low requirement part and go to high requirements part after. Thank you. So maybe now, before opening to the question of the room, I will maybe ask one question to our panel. Maybe how do you feel about all this current standard landscape for IAM, and do you think it fits well with our requirement of the energy sector, or what could be the improve we can propose to these norms?
So at least I have also said something about this in my presentation, that especially for some areas in the energy sector, there is a bit of lack of standardization, also of implementation, like what's already now done in the RCCM code, but also from the other ESMI code, from oil and gas and API standards and so on, that we need here a bit more standardization. And of course, the best way is to have a harmonized ISO, ASTM, EN standard, at least for all these sectors for use. So I think there will be a lot of work, especially on materials, as I told in the last slide, because this is, I think, the main topic in the energy industry, that we have our steps all standardized. Yeah, material, we have the machines, we need the non-destructive testing with specialized topics according AM, because it's not as usual as forged materials, not as casted materials. So we have there some things to do.
Yes, I think on the material side, that's a very good point. Everybody knows that, we use a lot the 316L, for instance. Everybody knows that with AM and especially the LPBF technique, we can reach really specific properties. But so we need, and so we can improve. We could improve the designs with higher stress values, for instance, like yield strength, etc. But and so we need to implement that in the standard. So we need some data. When we're talking about fatigue as well, we need fatigue data so that the technique can be can reach its audience, I would say, in the industry. So again, as many of us said, please help us in developing those standards, bring data on the table. I think it will benefit all the European industry. I agree with you, Stefan, that there's still lots of work to do in developing the material properties, etc. So.
No, I completely agree. Also, what I can say is that some years ago, because I'm not aware of what happened in the recent 1 or 2 past years, but some years ago, when a client came to us with a request for productions, he never mentioned any standards. It was just like, we were producing this part in a conventional way before, we would like to produce it by AM. What can you do? And when they gave a standard, it was conventional standard. But so I think that there is clearly a need for a standard to homogenize that. But in the meantime, for example, in the nickel bank projects, we went a bit further with very specific tests that are not necessarily required to put in every standard, because if you want to produce an impeller for oil and gas, you won't put a requirement on irradiation test, for example.
Yeah, maybe one of the challenges for energy sector is that every type of plant has its own, let's say, the constraint for the production. If you take a gas plant or a nuclear plant or an hydro plant, it's completely different. So maybe we need to have different norms or, let's say, chapters for different plants.
To add on this side, what I also had as question in the previous round, what we need is a reliable process, that every part at least has the same quality out of the process, out of the machine. The example I had with the hydrogen heat exchanger is something we have tested this on. We have 5 EOS machines. We have done test pieces on different machines, also different types. We have tested them what is needed here, pressure test. On this heat exchanger, the test pieces, we had 3, are broken then at 5,300 bar. All 3 test pieces within 30 bar difference, and all on the same line. All test pieces, and this is the quality we need in the process. Yeah? And when we have machines that rely on such a high quality level, then they are capable for our industry, for the whole energy sector, because this is the one common you need in all these different types.
Okay. So maybe, yes, we can take one question. So I think it's more for you, Stefan, but everyone is welcome to answer. Is there an ASME preserved vessel code case or European equivalent planned for wire DED components?
We have something done for pressure equipment within our pressure equipment standard for the WEM process to implement this also here. I think in the code cases, this is ongoing, yeah, on ASME, on CCM and the other sides to implement this, because it's a bit, this wire processes are a bit more related to the old welding processes, so you can use some of these already implemented points, but you have to add some special things because now you build not only a welding line, but a bit more of the part. Yeah, it's ongoing, but I think also here is some work to be done. I think on the powder bed side this is a bit more, but also this is next, I said, bigger AM technology to be developed in full scale.
Okay, thank you. Is there any question in the room?
I have a question. What do you think about
What
do you think about the certification of a people? Because on the research level, I have experience that the quality of people can decide the final result during the printing, for example, test specimens. Because we are speaking about the material, machines, and what about the people working with machines? What do you think?
The question for the people online was, what about the people regarding qualification? Because we always talk about process, materials, parts, but what about the people? And that's a good question. For the NICOBAM process methodology, we specify that the people shall be trained. This is in ASME, for example. This is some. This is requirements that are considered, that the people should have been recently trained, not 5 years ago. So yeah, this is what I can say about that.
Yeah, so in our company we do it with the ISO standard. We already have implemented the 52926. There is a bit of framework for the training of the operators, and we use this since the draft phase of the standard and train our people inside the company according to standard, and certified all of them and train them every half a year. Yeah, with more or less a bit a training on the actual work they do and also to prove what they do. And try to implement this for all our products, that everything with AM has to be done with trained operators, later on also with trained supervisors, with trained design person. We have all these implemented in our framework.
Yes, thank you. I have a question concerning the pipe construction code and pressure vessel construction codes linked with the standards, because historically we have a very fundamental link between the materials and the construction rules, especially the calculation safety factor, for example, that are based on the experience of the industry regarding the material characteristics. Or today with the EAM, the material is different. So do you think that which way we should follow, because you can redefine the material, because with a tensile strength or fatigue experience, you can have different convention, different definition for the characteristics of the material, and so the calculation rules is not adapt, or you change the safety factor to adapt to a kind of hybrid materials in the standards. There is two possibilities. Do you think that we can combine that or make it separately? So do not redefine what are the yield strengths, etc. for the material, and keep that and change the safety factor codes, or play on the both sides?
I think your question is related to the design values, etc., right? Like if we have proper design values, well, adapted to additively manufactured materials, I guess everything should be all right for designing the components, right? And your question is related to, like, since we don't have maybe not so robust design values, what strategy should we adopt, right?
Yes. But design values, okay, on the right, but on the left you have the material characteristics and the definition, the convention of that. Or today, are we using this traditional convention, like for the forge, for the rough, for the world material? But because when we discussed just before, some people say that the characteristics are a bit different. It's a new material you are creating during the process, and so is this philosophy always applicable? Still applicable?
I'm not sure I can understand this question. I don't know if you have any any clues to that. But.
What we try to do also in the standardization, for example, for the 316L, is that we relate on the same properties than we have for the forged material. That we say this is the minimum base and we have to reach this all the time, and the process must be that robust that we reach the same values than we have for the traditional materials also with AM. We can on our side use better values when we can achieve it. Yes, with a special qualification then also further on, but at least we have to be on the bottom line with the traditional methods.
Thank you. I had a short question regarding the spare parts. For the spare parts, do you require also certification testing? And if yes, do you then produce, for example, multiple components and subject one to testing, or how do you tackle that?
You mean spare parts that you print, not the spare part for the machine?
Spare parts that you print, indeed.
So your question is the certification, the qualification?
Do you require a certification test? So normally if you produce a new component, you have to do some static testing, some fatigue testing on certain components.
Yeah.
If you have now a spare part, you get a new part, a new material, in fact.
Yeah.
So some applications will need certification testing, but I was wondering, do you do it or not do it, or what is the approach that you think would be good for the future?
Depends. If the codes require that your parts itself is submitted to final fatigue testing on the component itself, for me, but this is my point of view. It's not from any standards or code. I think also the spare part should be. Then, if you perform all the fatigue tests on specimen, and then you use one piece for destructive examination, and then you perform fatigue tests on these parts, and you consider through whatever standard that it validates the fatigue properties of your component that you do not destroy. For me, it's a bit up to you, up to the application. I don't have a definitive answer. At least this is the way we used to do it.
For the first use cases we are doing at EDF, we are using the strategy, which is not very industrial, but allows us to move on and get some data to do like two parts, break one part to demonstrate that the second part is okay and have all the good properties, so we can use it in the plants. But it's only the strategy to do the transfer, let's say. We can't do this every time. We need and we rely on the norm development to be able to just did, for example, one part or one mock-up, which demonstrates that we are able to build all the part after with the good process and have the good property at the end.
Yeah, at the end, we do this nearly the same. For the most parts, rely on a test specimen we print and then can do 3.1, 3.2 certification of the part. But we have the special cases where also the part have to be destructive tested, or the specimens have to be out of the part. But this also relies on when we have, for example, the impellers I've shown for the oil platform. We then produced one of these and make samples out of this part to demonstrate that the impeller in total has the strengths, then the specimen we print with this impeller. And then for the later steps, so we print 15 impeller and 14 are used in the application, and the one was then as tested part. So when you have the spare part need for one part, we mostly rely on using then test specimen and not to produce a second part. But for series, we mostly do the whole bench of testing also with a destruction of one part.
Just to complement what I said before, it's very depending on the requirements, and if you have strict or lighter requirements, like as you said, Stefan, sometimes you produce a qualification build job and it's enough for all the later components you will produce. And some other time for very strict application with a lot of safety expectations, you will need even to perform functional fatigue testing on all your components, because this is what the code requires. So.
Is there any other question in the room?
Thank you. I think it's a follow-up question regarding the spare parts. Do you work with part family as worst case? So you talk about doing several fatigue testing for different parts, but if you have similar parts, do you test every single part as on fatigue, or do you work with those families that are worst case?
Yeah, so for the most cases we work with part families also here. At first related in our industry, yes, we have the part families for impellers, we have the part family for valves, for valve bodies. We already used to print a serial part in AM. So we also focus then on different sectors. We have a pressure equipment part, we have a rotating equipment part, so a bit on these family related items.
Is there another question? Okay, I think we have answered all the questions of the public. Wow. Okay, so maybe we can thank our panelists of this afternoon.
So hello everyone again. So now we are going to start the closing session. We have 3 people in this table. Benoît Verquin and Fabien Sobras from Cetim, and Eric Boster from Volume. So they will be kind of highlighting all the trends that came up during the discussion today in the earlier roundtables. And that will last for 50 minutes, so from now until 5:50, and the last 10 minutes we'll have the closing remarks, okay? And at 6 we will start, so we'll start a bit earlier, the networking cocktail this evening, so from 6. So welcome.
Thank you, Alison. So welcome at Cetim, Benoît Verquin. I'm an expert on additive manufacturing for Cetim Group. I'm very happy to welcome you here today. And before summarizing the exchange of this afternoon, with the help of my colleagues Fabien and Eric, I would like to give you some few words about Cetim and Cetim activities. So Cetim, it's a French technical center for French mechanical industry. The objective of Cetim is to help a company to promote the innovation, competitiveness, thanks to our capacity of R&D on a large scale of activities. Cetim was created in 1965 and operational on 66. That's why we celebrate this year its 60th anniversary. And sorry. Difficult to stay on this slide. Sorry. Maybe I can do that. I don't know if you can put the picture on the screen, if I can get help. I stay like this. Restez comme ça. Et afficher à l'écran. Là, je ne peux pas la montrer, il y a un problème sur la... Non, la précédente. Précédente. OK. OK. Let's go. No. Okay. Just to give you some figure of the previous slide, our 1,100 employer provide a wide range of services among all the manufacturing industry, like aerospace, energy, oil and gas, and over many sectors. And we have around 20 sites, almost in France, of course. And we have some sites also in Morocco, Singapore, for example. So for our activity, we have 3 pillars of activity. The first is material product process engineering. So we work on many materials, of course on metal, but also on composite, on polymer. Surface engineering, many processes, of course. I go deeper in additive manufacturing on the following slide, on assembly. The second pillar is dedicated to system performance mastering, so we help customers to optimize their design, and we evaluate the behavior of their components on many fields. It can be fatigue, electromagnetic compatibility, sealing, noise and vibration. And we have a third pillar dedicated to sustainable industrial transformation, where we work, for example, on the automatization, the robotization, of course on environmental energy transition, and the risk management. And we have many teams involved on NDT, or metrology, etc. So all these teams or all these pillars are involved in additive manufacturing at value chain. So we help customers from the design to the control of the part. I go deeper just after on the manufacturing. We work also on the finishing operation, heat treatment, on material optimization in general. And regarding manufacturing facilities, we have 4 sites. The first is in Saclay, in the south of Paris, Bourges, middle of France, Incluse, and Saint-Étienne. And with all the 4 sites, we work on many processes, only on metal additive manufacturing processes. And we have various machines, 15 machines, for example, on power-based fusion, we can produce some very small part to a very big part with Engie 600 machine. But we work also on new processes like additive friction stir deposition. And you will see just after on our booth some example of parts. So we are able to work on different kind of size of parts and volume of parts. It depends of the application. So we help our customer, we can say, on the motorway of additive manufacturing. First on a strategic position, definition of their project, to the evaluation of the technology on new product, and to help them to go to the industrialization of their process. So now I will give the floor to my colleague Fabien. The objective of this presentation will be to summarize what we have done recently during the Cetim project, and after to try to summarize, we can say together, what has been discussed this afternoon, and to evaluate the priorities for the following months on standardization of additive manufacturing.
Thank you, Benoît. Hello, Fabien Soubra, specialist, additive manufacturing specialist. I'm in Cetim and I'm located in Bourges. And as Benoît mentioned, I will present you results, summarize of results we made in the transversal work for Cetim members. The aim of the project is to provide all the key elements to industrial to make a production procedure to meet customer's specification, and to help to master and qualify a different process, PBFLB, WAM or MBG, and material use. First of all, we make a capitalization of existing standards dedicated to different additive manufacturing process, but the other who can link to this standard. For example, you have some standard from powder metallurgy. It could be the same used for AM process. And with our team standard according to this theme, we have a generic AM standard, and after we have design, raw materials, manufacturing, qualification, inspection, and consolidate materials. The objective is to provide tools, and it's online tools. It's available today. It's developed by UNM and Cetim, and it's accessible for Cetim members. And you can find for all these STEM, all the standard focus on this STEM. Then we work to define. I think I don't try to explain more, but because some people explain IQ, OQ, PQ. But we have another work dedicated for primary preliminary work for qualification. This point is to explain that we need to work on the process before to begin to qualify it. It's dedicated to people the part manufacturer. Beginning to make the first qualification, they need to develop parametric development, material characteristic, and to have a database to explain that to the final customers, that be able to develop a specific material with the data. And I think this synoptic we have already shown in different presentation. And this one is developed for PBFLB, but it could be applicable for the other process. It's the same logics. And after we tried to make a compilation of all standards and to define a good practice guide. And we have some people explain we have some different standard origin. It's a standard organization, classical standard organization, but we have already available guide and procedure from different industrial from aeronautics or for oil and gas and other. And we have tried to summarize a lot of guide or standards to define a good practice guide for PBFLB and for WAM. And we try to define just a mastery guide for MBG. It's just because the technology is not some to evaluate to be today to talk about qualification for MBJ. The objective of this guide of good practice is just for each step, IQ, OQ, PQ, to have summarize what is the goals of each step. Have a detailed overview, as we explained. Some people talk about how I can qualify people who work on the IM. It's not a specific way. It's inside the IQ. IQ installation qualification is not only the machine. It's the people we work with the machine. And we have a different overview for IQ, OQ, PQ, and PWQ. And we define the role of each stakeholder. Because today we have a part manufacturer, we have a designer, but someone needs database from the other, and the other need to have a validation of the final user. And we try to explain a methodology for society. We don't have any experiences in the qualification process. We try to define outcome, and we try to have a short list of expected document, and what is the content is this document. And I try to be a little focus in the OQ, because I think it's really important just to be focused. We have some definition of the OQ from the IMS 700332. The machine OQ is a process by which a machine is qualified to give a material specification. That's why when you are in OQ, you have a specification, and we try to define that the test is okay with this specification. It's not a development activity. The development activity is before, when you try to define what is the performance of the materials. And we can have some different way from OQ builds. We have the IMS 70032. We have some example from different machine developer. And we have from the DNV, we have some easy build with some just tensile testing. It's not really enough. And after, I don't remember we talk about. We talk about the NASA standard, but it's a little bit difficult. If we mention only the OQ, we can have a 15 tensile bar. It's really important, and the objective is to define for this operational qualification what is the minimum composition of the OQ. Because as we explained before, we have IQ, OQ, it's common for all the industrial. And after we can go to PQ, it's more about your product, and we have a scale effect of your design. But before, in the UQ, you can have a common plate, and as we can show, it's difficult to impose to part manufacturer to have the same qualification for aeronautics, for oil and gas, or for automotive, for example. And today, I think it's the most different between each activity for industrial. And when I think perhaps all people reply to the survey, we are just to make the work to define what is the different theme about the 18 subject proposed. And as you can see, qualification is a way really important need to continue to develop additive manufacturing project.
So now the idea is to have an exchange. I don't know if you have replied to the survey, but to have an open discussion on maybe we can put on the screen the results of the survey and to
in a moment. We need a technical issue, so we will have some question first, and then we will see what have been said.
And you have the list of the survey, but the exchange can we can have a large exchange because we have not covered all the topic. And the objective today is to get your objective, your needs regarding standardization on what we have to do in the following months, in the following year regarding your application. So now it's an open discussion, and maybe you have some words to add regarding that.
Just one. I'm not sure that everyone know exactly where come from this 18 subject. If I'm wrong, please tell me. Yeah, we know exactly where it's come from. We have say that at the beginning. It is already a work made by the SAM project a few weeks ago, and these projects are come from experts from all over Europe and say, okay, in my field, I need this topic, and I'm quite ready to develop something. Okay, and then in a specific work group led by Guillaume Badinier, say, okay, the 20, I don't remember how many, we were 20 persons around the table, and say, okay, this is more or less important in my opinion. Each expert give one voice, and we have this, let's say, 18 subjects in this order, but it's not a definitive order. It is, let's say, okay, an open discussion now. So that is the first point I want to underline here. Then the Cetim and Benoît and Fabien make this little segmentation above the table, see where are coming and where are the generic topics of the standard. And then, after that, we will try to ask you some, let's say, so that's open question, so without giving too much detail, but for example, do you feel that all the activity sector are representing or not? For sure, it seems that some are open or not in generic, but yeah, if there are people from other sector of activity, energy or aviation have been in a good floor today, but is there other application or other people in the room who are willing to say something? Yeah.
Thank you. I'm a little bit surprised that there is no subject on surface roughness.
Do you mean by surface roughness the impact of the behavior of the material?
No, something like standardization for what we can obtain in terms of surface roughness regarding the different AM techniques.
Okay, regarding the parameter you use on the machine, etc. Yes, it's like you can say some class of part you can get with different processes, or like I have in my mind some standard, for example, in foundry for the accuracy. I don't know if there is some standard on surface roughness, for example, for foundry process. I don't know. But it is the idea behind your question to have some...
Yeah, that's it. You can imagine you want to produce some visible part where the visual aspect is really important.
Yeah.
Which technology and something like a guide or where we have to work in.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Just for add some information, I think it's more dependent from parameters, and I think you could, if we could have an example of foundry, we just have a large scale of which roughness we can have, and I think for additive manufacturing is the same. And today for foundry we can have sand, and you know that the sand we have some results. But I think for additive manufacturing, it really depends on the parameters. And if we go through different people, we have different machines, we can have a really different way. If perhaps they develop a specific parameters for a contour, and that's why I think it could be a little bit difficult to make a standard with. But I think it could be a good information to have a large scale as we can have in foundry, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just take 1 minute to connect the email and we have
Okay. Okay. Maxime?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Benoît. I wanted to jump on that. Roughness is about imperfection. And so there are some release standards that just been released, 52948, I think, that talks about surface roughness. And there are also working standards for as-built specimen to measure the dimensions of the specimen when you want to do tensile testing, for example, for small parts. So the intent of this slide is really that's the industry need regarding standards. So if there is a need, according to you, regarding standards, I would propose to reach out to Eric and see how we could bring that to the table as well, if it's not there yet.
Yes. And there is another topic, it's topic number 4, I remember. It's the impact of imperfection on material behavior. So, of course, we have in mind some the behavior regarding fatigue strength, and take in account the imperfection in the bulk, but also the surface roughness. So it is the idea behind this topic, because on the slide you have only the title, but no the scope of.
I had a question regarding the list of 18.
Yeah.
Have you also considered other roadmaps that have been set up in the past, for example, by ASTM regarding online monitoring tools? Have this also been taken into account when setting up the list? Because I think there is very valuable information in there also.
Yes, I think each national committee are involved in collaboration with ASTM. So we have in mind this roadmap, and as you know, on this roadmap there is some priority. So there is some urgent topic and a long-term topic. And the idea behind that was to ask industrial in Europe regarding the present status of standardization, and to say now, you know the portfolio of existing standards, and what is your need for implement or develop additive manufacturing in your industry. And that's why we have sometimes some response with some different priority regarding this roadmap. Yes, and one of the example I have not already seen the result, but when we exchanged during a meeting last month, there was a lot of exchange regarding the material behavior, the influence of the surface roughness or the imperfection of the fatigue. We speak about Eurocode, etc. And the need was oriented on qualification, of course, but also on design. What are the tools today to help designer? If we want to develop additive manufacturing in industry, you have to give the tool to the designer to be confident in the use of additive manufacturing. And the reflect of this exchange was, I think, in the topics, different topics related to material behavior on the influence of different parameters. And maybe it is a difference we have with the present roadmap because we have of ASTM, but we work in collaboration on the Stefan in his joint group regarding material. Where we have a lot of people involved from ASTM, of course.
Yeah, I was just wondering that data quality was not appearing in the list, let's say. And the whole story of AI is such a huge hype, let's say, at the moment. And yeah, nothing regarding data quality from where you have to start, let's say, because...
That's why today we open the question, because it was the feedback from different countries involved in additive manufacturing. But we know that we have not covered all the needs, and that's why today we open the discussion and to try to get more feedback on needs.
Yeah, because what I'm now listing, it was already in the roadmap of online monitoring of ASTM, and it was highlighted as one of the key priorities to do.
I can respond on that. The roadmap, the ASTM roadmap, cover everything, of course.
No, that was a roadmap only on online monitoring tools.
Online monitoring, yeah. But in general, the ASTM have a roadmap who cover everything. So what is already in a joint group with the ISO and what is developed directly by the ASTM alone, it is some information that we try to get and to share in the European Committee, and that's why I think there are no things in our feedback. But you're right. We notice that to be sure that there are not a lack here to say, okay, nobody come with that in Europe because maybe the ASTM proposal is fine, or we can make a joint group with them. But we have to double check that. And thank you for your remark.
For information, I'm in charge of Workgroup 3 dedicated to test method on TC261, and it was one of the topics of our workgroups at the end of the meeting 10 days ago in US for the ISO on the ASTM meeting. And the difficulties today to start to work on the standard, we need some information on it's not standardization, it's not R&D. You have to establish already something, it works in the industry, and after you can go on standardization. On this topic, it's one of our priority. Today we have in a joint group 59 many topics on NDT, so we are after the build, but all the expertise in this joint group are working also on monitoring. But the difficulties today is to have a topic on a project mature enough to go in standardization. And of course, we are open if you work on this topic and if you have some input to start with maybe not with a standard, but with a technical report. And it could be interesting to work on that. Yeah.
And maybe to complete why we don't have, for example, a proposal on surface roughness or data quality, is that we have only a year to prepare this roadmap with the 5 priority standards, and we ask each country to only make 3 proposals. And this might be the reason why you don't see this topic, which is a high topic for you, in the list. No, it's just to clarify how we try to work and to progress with this roadmap.
Okay, so we noticed that there are probably some lack again, but we have to prioritize. That's a key. I also noticed that the surface are not totally, let's say, address. It's a factor 1, of course, of result for sure. Everybody know that, but we have an academic partner who think about that since a long time and say that existing surface measurements are not totally adapted to additive manufacturing sometimes. So it is also a reflection, but let's say that we also need to have priority and expert to lead and take the pen, and which is more complex. Any other, let's say, feedback from the room when you see that on the screen? Okay, you don't have the whole text, but.
So maybe we can give a few words about the proposal of French committee. So we had a 3-topic proposal. So thank you. So it was number 4, the influence of imperfection, of performance of AM components, and maybe with the help of Guillaume, we can give more maybe information, but it was the influence of imperfection we can find in the part on the subsurface of the part, the surface roughness, about material behavior, and mainly on fatigue behavior. We have another.
We will see the tree, but I see some face in the room. We have this idea, and if there are somebody who have idea of how to, let's say, give some result, because the Cetim have, you have seen the characterization possibility, but in each country you should, or I suppose, people, academic and or industrial, make this have a look on the influence of the defect. So this is important to say that if this will be developed, because we feel that there's something here, how the other, let's say, academic partner and industrial partner could help, and what they could bring like an input. The question is here. You can think about that, and then if you want to go and continue on this, feel free.
Yes, second topic was, it was 13, number 13. So regarding methodology for process parameter optimization on the inter-machine transposition. The idea behind, if you go in production with several machines, how do you change your production from one machine to the other? It's a classical problem for our process, but it's a bit tricky for additive manufacturing. So it's a second topic proposed by French industrial. And the third, I think it was number 2, and the reparation methodology for part manufacturing, especially repairing and feature addition with DoD process. So it's another topic. Fabien showed just before some existing standard, for example, the DNV standard. And here the idea is to speak on a specific operation like repairing with DoD. So DoD wire, DoD powder also. So it was a free topic pushed by the French community. It was not related to Cetim needs or academic. It was only industrial needs. Of course, now in the list, now you can see the other. As I said, it's not a limited topic. The objective is to select 5 and to work on this in the following month or year in order to add this new topic. So it's interesting. Thanks for your remarks to highlight topics regarding the surface roughness or monitoring, institute monitoring. It's an interesting topic. I don't know if you have other things to add, other topic to push.
Or one topic you hate, say, okay, no, not this one. No, yeah. No way.
Why would you limit topic number 2 to DED processes and not include, for example, cost pre? Because DED processes already covers a wide range of process, like laser blonde powder, wire arc, additive manufacturing. You could basically include all AM process that could be used for repair and add features on parts.
I think it was the need proposed by the industrial, so we take in account this need. Now it can be enlarged, but we have to take care of the maturity of the process we can add on such a standard. But yes, in general, if you have a need about that, it can be added if you have some information to give us as input for this work. Yeah. So we can integrate this remark.
Yeah, we take the remark for sure. Yeah. One here, one there.
I have one question about the logical behind the classification. For example, in the topic 8 and 10, both of them treated the railway application. However, the first one, it's about the classification or the safety classification. In the 10, it's about qualification. And what is the logical behind to separate these two topics?
Good remarks, because here you have the compilation of the input of all the country. So of course, when we organized the meeting 1 month ago, we see some common point between topics. So it is a work for us now in order to group different proposals and to take care of all these topics. But yes, it is all the proposal we get, for instance.
Thank you. It's about the Cetim work on the preliminary work of qualification. Yeah. Is there an intent to push that as standards after?
I think sorry. PWQ. It's I think it's today necessary for part manufacturer because we don't have any standard. But in the future, if we have standard about materials, perhaps they don't need this works. This work is only to show the capability of the machine. And the part manufacturer just show that it's able to have the same results that we have in the standards. I'm not sure that it's necessary to develop specific standards to make this works because it's not typical from additive manufacturing. It's only during this step. We only make a capability, and capability is just how to say statistics.
So it's not.
And statistic is we have a first way in the one ISO ASTM. I don't remember the numbers, and he say we need to have a 50 value for each key KPV.
Yeah, it's not about the results, but more about the methodology. Because here in this list, we talk about standardized methodology for process optimization, etc. So, is there a way to bridge the gap of how we make things? So you've come up with a good methodology to characterize the process as an input for the IQ, OQ, PQ. Because when we look at the current standards on IQ, OQ, PQ, it doesn't tell you on how you come up with your parameters and your process windows, etc. So
it depends what is a part the manufacturer wants. It perhaps just use standard parameters we can find in the EOS on the SLM, or perhaps they can develop. And I think it's not really difficult, but we need to have a specific methodology to develop your specific parameters. Perhaps it could be a standard. But
yes, I think it interesting suggestion. It's how do you proceed to define your parameters? What are the strategy to find? We can have different kinds of strategy, but to give some tools in order to define the stable parameters for one application. Yes, I think it's important point to keep. Yes, interesting. And for that, in the slide shown by Fabien, we have done some works on its project's name. It's PTT, and you shown 3 deliverable, and there was one on PBF. It's more dedicated to the how to qualify and to use the standards. The second was on DoD wire. And I think on this document, there is some information about DoD and how we can find the good windows, process windows, and is more general to how can I master my process. And of course, this document will be is available for Cetim member, but the objective is to push this document on standardization or the content. And the third document is on binder jetting. And as it's not you have not the same maturity on binder jetting in comparison with PBF or DoD. This document is dedicated to how can I master in general my process for binder jetting. And so it can be, I think, not a standard, but interesting technical report for the future. So yes, the output of our work will go on standardization in the following month.
So time is running. We have few minutes to conclude. We will not conclude exactly today. We have some input from the room. We have input from the survey. That is very nice to have this, and we need to have more meeting to analyze all of this. But in the minute we have, if there are other, let's say, remark, please feel free. If there are always some, but we need to close in a few minutes. I could just add one word and maybe give the floor to for the conclusion. So first, be sure that this the one who will be selected, let's say, have in mind to go to a triple logo, if possible. And I remind you also that the 438, the TC 438, is trying to go to the triple logo, but sometimes it's not possible due to a regulation body who say, okay, for example, the standard on the pressure vessel is not able to come to other ISO or ASTM. So this is always a case here for the 438. But in this work, if it's possible, we go to triple logo due to the fact that we would like to cover a maximum of area. Either other remark? Benoit, you have something to add, or we can give...
Is it possible to see the suggestion, the commentary under...
yes.
Sure.
Yeah, yes.
You have one specific, or it's just to show?
No, it's just.
So on this, we see that we have some.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I see two answers related to pressure equipment, and there is a standard under development on pressure equipment made by Additive Manufacturing that should be published. That will be published this year. So we are waiting for some analysis to make sure that the standard is compliant with the pressure equipment directive. So we already have a standard on it.
And maybe we can remember the number of the project.
13445-14.
Yeah, thank you. There is one needs to use mini specimen for material qualification. There is already an existing standard to use mini specimen on to yes. Yeah.
52909. We have the Bible here.
Excuse. Yes, on LCA, so we have an ongoing project. So it's at the stage in yes, yes. So yes, we have already a draft, a good draft, and many people are involved in this project. So if people are interested about this topic, yes, it's open.
Yes, please come to us, and then we will be able to guide you and to put you in contact with the right person to participate and provide your views and your need on this ongoing project.
Perfect.
And
So,
if you can scroll down, it was a priority. So there is, yes, cold spray, NDT, fatigue, post-processing.
And we mentioned a process post-processing. It's just to be sure that it's really specific to AM, to additive manufacturing process, because perhaps we can have a standard only for the post-processing, and it's not dedicated to AM. I'm not sure today you have a really specific post-processing just focus on the AM. It's more used for AM, but I'm not sure that today you have one specific process only for AM.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
It's just a comment on the 52909 for the small specimens. It's about sampling inside the part,
yes,
not trying to qualify the material. So there is the working document that I was talking about at ASTM for small specimen, but I think it's about the test method, and sometimes about the test method it's related to the standard itself, which is not the scope of additive manufacturing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also where it's complicated and the line is blurry sometimes. So you can relate to that when you sample to a part, but to characterize material, you need to refer to your material standard. Thank you.
Okay, multi-laser, okay. Okay.
Yeah, standardization about the monitoring solution.
as you can see there, when the topic is on the screen, there are directly some response. Hey, we have one joint group here, we have, or not, and you should be sure that if something exists, it will be known and compared.
And I see the answer, more interaction of European research, and this is also the reason why we have in mind to ask academics to write the content of the draft proposal to make sure that we build the bridges with the academics, universities, to try to involve them in standardization. So if you are aware of university and academics working on such topic, please inform us, because we'll be happy to work with them in the coming months.
Okay. Okay, little bit of work to. We have a 26 response. And yes. What is a no?
Perhaps it's me. Just.
You misclicked. So
yeah, it's a mistake. Perhaps okay. It's just me.
Okay. No, there are some work after that. But once again, thank you for your participation. Thank you for your feedback, which are very important to help to write this roadmap.
Yes, and we will be there during the Metal AMS symposium. We will have a stand in UNM, and we'll be happy to answer your question on standards, on how to join standardization group, and we are here for that. So I invite you to come, and there will be a little game with something to win. So come to see us.
You win a pen. Thank you.
So I would just like to run over and just to reinforce the message said by Cyrielle and Benoit and everyone. To say a big thank you to everyone for these engaging, promising, and also insightful discussions that we had today. I think they were down to earth and really connected to the feedback from industry. So. My message today for you is if you have anything else if you want to join the group, so now, as we said, what happens next? So we will have to connect the dots, because we received your inputs today through this survey, but also in parallel, we are already doing some work in the standardization group, which is the European. So there is this European group. That's the reference, so the CEN 438, the working group 1. So this group was created in December, so we had like 2 meetings. The last one, it was early in March, so beginning of the month. And the next meeting will take place on April 22nd in Paris at UNM. And also, there will be also virtual people attending. We will have monthly meetings until, let's say, fall this year, because we have a target delivery. So that's the deadline to deliver the roadmap for AM standards in Europe. So we are kind of building this roadmap, which is part of the European project that Cyrielle showed to you mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. So here, these let's say the one of the 2 situations that you might find yourself right now. So maybe you are thinking, I will follow things from a distance. I will check the website from time to time. Or I will get updates from my colleague, who is more involved in standardization. Or the second scenario is I want to know more. Meaning, maybe you are willing to take a more active role in standardization. If you want to, maybe you have some question in your head asking how you could possibly contribute to this kind of work, roadmap, etc. So if that is the case, I want to say you welcome, because you have many possibilities for you. throughout this week, because we have the Metal IMS starting tomorrow. So you have the website, that's the first information, dedicated to this European project on AM standards. You have the meeting, the working group meeting that will take place end of April, and during the Metal IMS, so you have the exhibition booth 8 on dedicated to additive manufacturing standards, and also we will have a presentation. So everything that was said here today, we will be representing and giving some additional information about this on Thursday in the afternoon. So we have the room number here. So yeah, I don't know if you have any more questions. Yes, all the slides will be available. So yeah, I think that will be published in the UNM website. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, you'll be notified all these slides. So yeah, as Cyril always say, we always say that we cannot, as a standards body, write the standards ourselves. So we need you. We need to work hand in hand, because otherwise, all the documents, they will not be representative of the industry needs. So we really need you working with us in this project, because it doesn't make sense to write standards if you don't have your needs. So you may have, guys, 100 ideas on your head, like to improve your process, your materials, and to transfer them into the standards. But if they stay outside of the committee, I mean, if you don't join this committee, nothing's going to happen. So that's the kind of the message that I would like to push hard today. Thank you very much. And so I think now is time to crack open that bottle of champagne. So we'll have the networking cocktail starting at 6. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in a bit. Thank you.